ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 2 for 1 podcast. I am Liam Murphy here alongside Jimmy Paganis, and boy, oh boy, is it an exciting time for basketball. We got the NBA Finals tipping off June 2nd in a couple days. We're going to go a couple days without basketball, man. How are we going to do it?
No, we went from basketball almost every night to then every other day, and then now it's gonna be
3 days.
it's gonna be hard waiting until Thursday after all that good
We got
basketball.
3 days. We'll make it through though. Hopefully we improve. We give you guys a little basketball content, and we know can't watch games these next couple days, but we got you guys. We're coming through with a pod today. Uh,
For sure, we got to react to Game 7 last night. Um, what do you think? Tell me your thoughts about that, Liam. I mean, just what you saw, like some reflection
oh
and
man, well
insight
it
of Game
was
7.
the Celtics had it going, but absolute overwhelming majority of the game. He made some runs right back at him, but the Celtics always, stayed up in front. That little run at the end had to have Celtics fans' hearts racing like crazy. I mean, the Heat were, gosh, so close, so close to completing that comeback. Um,
No, I could not. I couldn't believe. I mean, when Strus hit that three, I was I didn't know what was going to happen. I was like, "Oh my goodness, are the Celtics going to just fall apart? Is this going to be one of those where the Celtics just completely lose control?" When honestly, it was a good back and forth game. The Heat had runs to make it to get back into it, but I thought the whole
yeah,
game the Celtics were in control. I thought they did a great job of like keeping their composure, getting good shots. I mean, when they needed, when the Heat made a run, it seemed like they always answered with just a solid bucket. Like either Tatum hit a big shot or Jaylen Brown got to the bucket. I mean, something happened. Like he would score 5 or 7 or get on a little run, and then right away the Celtics just shut it down, calm, cool, collected, gain control back. And I thought that was one of the most impressive things about this whole game for the Celtics. Obviously, a 4-point win in Game 7 is crazy, and it's just stressful in itself. But the fact that they're young. I mean, their best players are young. Obviously, they have some experienced veterans, but their best players are young, and the composure they showed to just kind of have that confidence and stay in
it,
control.
it's
I
very
thought was
impressive
very
on
impressive.
the road too. Like you'd think like this really elite Heat team, they were hanging in there, got it up really close. And you think the momentum of the crowd and just the energy flowing would put them over the top of the seas. They stood their ground. Uh, the Heat threw some challenging stuff at them. I think that the Heat started doubling Tatum in the second half, and like we talked about in the last podcast, he's learned to adjust to all that pressure by starting to make more plays for his teammates, and I'm just impressed. And I want to point out the heart from Al Horford. He shot 2 for 9 last night, but the man is what 36 years old, and he played 44 minutes. 44 minutes from Al Horford and was grabbed 14 boards, played high energy defense. He's been such an incredible guy for them these playoffs.
I mean, he's been their anchor. It seems like I said, other team goes on a run. It seems like he's always been the same this whole series, the whole playoffs. Really, I mean, you see it. They go down. Al Horford gets this like little and one, right? May only have 8 points the game, but like last night he had five. But he gets that bucket and he just like he does a little head nod, just a little fist shake, gets the crowd into it when they're at home. But I mean, he is such a big part. I mean, he played the second most
It's
minutes out of the
crazy.
Celtics besides Tatum. Tatum only played two more, but he's the rock to that team. They have players obviously like he's the rock. Marcus Smart's probably the heart, and then the motor. I mean, Jason
Yeah,
Tatum's just
he's
the
him.
guy,
Yeah,
and Jalen
he's him.
Brown's yeah, and Jalen Brown's number two, right? I mean, I can't say it enough about the two about Jalen and Jason. The just the fact that they're ready. I mean, it's and I love how they're responding to everybody. Like we talked a little bit about it and how people were saying, um, got to split them up.
Did you
Like, are you kidding me? You have two guys under the age of 25 that can do what they
did
do,
you see
and
in
you're going
the
to trade them?
after while
Trade
they were
one of them?
celebrating? I think Tatum was hugging Brown. He's like, "Oh, they wanted to get rid of us," and like, look at where they're at, man.
Yeah,
It's night and
I
day,
know.
night and day. It's so impressive.
I know. And I want to say, oh my gosh, I gotta find it. But I know Perk said something earlier this year. He said you gotta split them
Did he
up.
say
And I'm
carry
like,
on? Did he say carry
first
on
of
after
all,
that?
he said carry on, no way. But I mean, just the fact that one, like I said, even if they don't make the Eastern Conference Finals, how do you split those two up? Like you have that talent. Like where else are you gonna get that? In getting a player back that's equal to one of
Hmm.
them would even be hard. But I mean, it's worth it. They're in the Eastern, or they made the finals, right? They're going to be in the finals at the age of 25 and 24. I mean, this is their second Eastern Conference Finals, and they're that young. And so, um, it's huge. It's big for Boston, but it's big for them just building the confidence. I mean, they know they're 25 and 24 already with the resume that says two-time Eastern Conference appearances and then one finals
Isn't it
appearance.
three? Isn't it
I mean,
three
just
time?
building off that for the
Didn't they
future.
get there and is it three time?
Three
Didn't
time?
they go there in the bubble too? Were they in the conference finals in the bubble? I know they were there in 18
Oh my
against
gosh.
Braun, and then in the
No.
bubble they might have been
Yeah,
there
it was.
too.
Was it the? Was it them or was it the
No,
Bucks?
they lost in five to Miami. Like it was a really ugly playoff series for them.
That's right.
Which is three times,
Oh
man.
my
Three
gosh.
times. And how many was it? What was this? Brown? This was Tatum's season, fifth season, I think. And this was Brown's sixth. That's crazy. And that also speaks
That's
to the
ridiculous.
dominance of the Celtics organization. Like it's crazy. They are so consistent, so consistently good. They've also they they made that after making the Garnett and Pierce trade, they only spent 1 year out of the playoffs, and then got right back in it in 15.
Yeah,
Like, and they've been there ever since. It's crazy.
you're right. It's three. So good job correcting me.
Right?
That's even more impressive. I mean, you have these young guys who already know what they're capable of, and they haven't turned 26 yet. They haven't even hit their prime of when guys really get
That's
going, and
scary.
that's scary for the rest of the league. Um, but that's awesome if you're a Boston fan. That's got to be something. And also, I want to point out like Marcus Smart. Um, I mean, up
Very,
and down
yeah.
his whole career, I'd say. And there's been a lot of times where people have been called to trade him, and I thought maybe they would once Brad Stevens took control of the front office, but him by Stevens keeping him, it kind of showed that okay, no, Marcus Smart is legit. He's gonna be a part of the team. He's gonna be part of the reason why the Celtics continue to grow and be good. I mean, he had the most shot
Yeah, I
attempts. He didn't
saw
shoot the best. He
that.
went 8 for 22, but um, I mean, he had 9 rebounds and 24 points as a 6'4", 6'5" point guard, and I mean, he's gotten so much better as a
Oh, big
shooter,
time.
um, just from the start of his NBA career. Obviously, like 3 for 10 from the 3 point line, but last night, but still, I mean, like the improvements he's made have been impressive, and I don't know. I just want like he is the heart of the team. I mean, we saw it. What was it in Game 5 where he rolled his ankle and came back and lit the fire? I mean, he's the heart and soul of the team, and I mean, without him, they would not be here. And I know there's a lot of talk about Jalen and Jason, but without Marcus Smart or even Al Horford, I mean, they wouldn't be in this position.
Yeah, no, no question. I mean, it's just there's so much heart just on that team, and then everybody complements each other just so well. And even though Smart shot bad, he's always going to be a dog. He's always going to be a positive impact on the defensive end as well. And he's just I love watching him play.
I mean, that whole game last night, right, was just the perfect illustration of Marcus Smart's career.
It's,
I mean, great game, right? Great game, but the last 2 minutes almost completely
I heard about
blows it all up, and then he hits the two biggest free throws. I mean, that's just like the up and down. It was the perfect illustration of who Marcus Smart is as an NBA basketball player. But I mean, you gotta love him. I mean, if he does something wrong, takes a bad shot, makes bad turnovers, he always keeps going. He always fights back. He always bounces back. And like I said, he is the heart of that team, and um, he's a big reason why they're going to be in the finals, and he's going to be a big factor in the finals.
yes, no
for sure.
question. I like you said. I like how you said he just keeps going. I think it's important for all basketball players at any age to have that just keep going mentality. Whether you miss a shot or turn the ball over, I think having short term memory and continuing to play hard and try and believe in yourself is important. So I'm glad Marcus plays with that mentality.
For sure. I mean, one guy, if you want to talk about short-term memory, well, let's go to the other side, the Miami Heat. Victor Oladipo, I saw a tweet. I think I sent it to you. He has the best short-term memory ever. I mean, it doesn't matter how many shots he takes, he's going to keep shooting. I mean, last night he was one of two players with a positive plus minus for the Heat, and his plus minus was plus 16. I know plus minus is like an iffy statistic, but 33 minutes plus 16. I mean, the only other guy who was plus was Strus plus 4. But Victor Oladipo does some things off the bench, which gets him going. I mean, he has that ability to create shots. It's unfortunate that maybe he isn't 100% of what he used to be, because if he was,
That'd be crazy.
it would have been a little more fun. Yeah. But with the Heat, I mean, he had to step up in a role where Tyler Hero was injured, and he only played 7 minutes last night. But I mean, without Tyler Hero being like a guy off the bench who can create his own shot, can play make, Victor Oladipo did the best he could while also not being a liability on the defensive end. And I mean, tough position for him. Obviously, did not shoot the best last night. 1 for 7 from 3. But it looks like promising for him next year, of like where he's going to continue to progress.
Remember, he's on a vet minimum deal. Like I am beyond impressed with Oladipo's ability. Obviously, he's not at that all-star level he once was, but I'm so happy for him to be, in the league getting minutes. Because you were at the game he first came back, right? Like that first game he was back, right? How was that?
Yeah, I went to that game in Miami. The crowd was actually so into it. Like, it was against the Houston Rockets, and he had like a short little stint there. But he hit like a couple threes, had like a dunk.
He had a 40 piece at the end of the year when probably good.
Yeah, he scored 40
that's
and
right.
he had a 30 piece.
How many minutes did he get? That game he went to. I'm just curious. How many, you remember like how much run he got? Or
I think it was like 20 or under.
See, like,
he did not play a lot.
That's the impressive thing for me too, because I think he was towards the end of he, like, other than that, like 40 piece and 30 piece, I don't think he was getting that many minutes. He may have even had some DNPs too, even while he was healthy. And for him to come up and take the spot of a man who's on a $90 million contract, Duncan Robinson, kind of like, and like take his rotational spot is so impressive to me with Oladipo. And I was, regardless of the Heat getting knocked out, he was somebody like whenever he'd make a shot or play some good defense, I'd always smile, watching him play.
Yeah, and like you said, towards the end of the season, even in the start of the playoffs, he wasn't getting much run, especially with Hero healthy. But he had to step up. He was actually he played the third most minutes this
That's
series
so
for
I
the
am so
Miami Heat.
happy for him, just for
And
that,
that's
even just for that.
yeah. He didn't even start a game this series, but he was the third highest in minutes. Um, but speaking of minutes, right? And who played oh, that was
Fourth.
he was the
Okay.
fourth or fifth.
Either way.
My bad. But speaking, yeah, but that's without starting, and that's how he took over that Tyler Hero role. Tyler Hero obviously is six man, but he gets like the big minutes when it matters in the fourth quarter, and Victor Oladipo took that, and he earned that mostly, I'd say, with his defensive play this series. Um, but speaking of minutes, a guy who definitely played a lot, Jimmy Butler.
48 minutes.
His game 7 performance, his game 6 performance was crazy too. But just talk me through what you saw out of him in the game last night. Obviously, we'll talk about that last shot and kind of maybe the controversy behind it. But I'd love to hear your opinion on that.
Jimmy he's a star player, man. So he was doing whatever he could to try and will his team to victory. He wasn't getting too much help last night outside of Bam really offensively. I mean, Lowry hit some shots, but overall it was a lot of Jimmy. A lot of Jimmy and Bam. I mean, he tried his absolute best. Jimmy plays with heart and soul. He put all 48 minutes he was going hard, and that's what he does. He's never, half effort ever. That's what I love about watching Jimmy. Um, and to talk about the last shot, so my initial reaction, I had some confusion, but I've kind of reflected on that. And Jimmy, when you're a star player and you're feeling it, you take shots that are open, and also like the Celtics weren't really set. So I got really two perspectives on it. One, I think, I don't know, maybe you could have taken more time and gotten a better shot, considering like obviously during the regular season, Jimmy Butler was a 22% 3-point shooter. And number two, when you're a star player and are trying your best to will your team to victory and you feel like it's your chance to take a shot against an elite defense that one set is really hard to get an open shot against, you take it, like, and Jimmy's always got the green light, and he's been a superstar throughout these playoffs. So
Yeah, totally. And unfortunately, maybe for our viewers or our listeners, I agree with you. There's not going to be much like I'm not going to combat you at all on this point because, like you said, at first in the moment I was like, oh my gosh. But when he shot it, I was like, this is it. He's going to hit it. He's going to hit it. And that's him being a 20-something% 3-point shooter, right? But he missed. He missed it on the front end, and obviously understandable. 48 minutes, little short. I think the biggest confusion was he is one of the best at converting and ones. Like you see a lot of guys who can draw fouls, but not a lot of guys that continuously, especially at his size, like as a guard, continually finish
he's a
through
bruiser.
contact like he does. He gets just and ones like all the time, and there's a lot of guys like I'm a Harden guy, but whatever. There's a lot of guys like Harden who draw fouls, and then there'll be people complaining like, "Oh my gosh, he's at the line again. He didn't even get fouled." Right? It seems like every time Jimmy Butler's at the line, you're like, "He got hit." I mean, it's a foul. But anyway, I think the hardest part is because he's such a good finisher and good at getting to the rim, to just not take kind of Al Horford one-on-one and try to draw a foul, if not finish over him. I guess that was the biggest question mark. But like you said, you have the ball in your best player's hands, right? In a position like that, you have to trust your best player. I mean, any team wants that situation, right? They want the best player with the ball, with the game on the line, right? They don't want anyone else, right? Because if Kyle Lowry took that shot, or if someone else took that shot and missed, then everyone would be like, why
Yeah.
didn't Jimmy Butler
Yeah.
shoot the shot, right? But look, he missed. He missed the shot. It stinks for Heat fans. It stinks for Jimmy Butler and the Heat. But you had your best player take a
Yeah.
shot and he missed it. That's what it comes down to. Also, does it like surprise you at all that Jimmy Butler and the Miami Heat wanted to
No.
go for the win?
I mean, after playing
It,
48 minutes, I'm trying to end that game. I'm trying to get, or start celebrating, like, and then get to the locker room, get some rest. They had to go for that. They had to.
exactly. So I mean, look, the Celtics I think are just a better team. I really do. I think they're, especially with all the injuries that both teams have faced, with Tyler Hero out, there's really no one
Yeah.
who can create a shot besides Jimmy Butler for himself. Um, like Kyle Lowry's a shell of himself,
Especially
I'd
with the
say,
injury.
not even close
Especially with the
to
injury.
exactly right. And so I think the Celtics were a better team, and they definitely showed it in Game 7 by just being in control the entire game, right? So it was a fun Game 7. I know we texted back and forth about when it started. We were nervous
9-1.
that, oh
We
no,
saw
we're
a
going to get another
9-1 start. I'm like,
blowout.
oh, please, not this again.
But the Heat kept chipping away, and the Celtics just stayed steady, stayed calm. And Jason Tatum, I mean, the couple of shots he had in the fourth quarter, the end of the game, he had that one off the inbound where he kind of did that turnaround jump shot over Jimmy. That was just disgusting. I mean, it was beautiful. The footwork in that shot was just crazy. He had the top of the key three, I think, on an inbounds pass off the baseline where I think PJ Tucker just sagged into the paint for some reason and left him open. But it seemed like in the biggest moments he hit the biggest shots, and can't stress it enough. Jason Tatum is on that level. He is just proving it night after night that he is that guy, and he should be talked about when you're talking about the top guys in the league right now. And we said it already. He's 24
He's only
years
19.
old. He's only 19. That's right. And he's been 19 for a couple years now, and I wonder what he'll be like next year when he's also 19. But no, Jason Tatum, can't say enough good things about him. Jaylen Brown, always this series at least, it seems like he's always been consistent, like reliable.
They turned the ball over
Jason
quite a bit, but either way, they shot the ball pretty well. So
for sure. Yeah, definitely need to get better with ball security, especially Jaylen Brown with his handle needs to get a little tighter. But it seems like whenever Jason Tatum couldn't get something, Jaylen Brown was there to deliver. And I mean, that's what it is. They enjoy playing with each other. They complement each other really well. They help on both sides of the ball. And this Celtics team's legit. They are serious. And going into this finals, it'll be really interesting to see how they match up with the Warriors, because so Miami and the Celtics, both teams that are kind of grinders, right? They played really hard, great defensive teams, fundamentally sound offense teams, right? Got into their sets really well. The Warriors are a little different, right? They have that fluid offense, that kind of motion, always constantly moving. Maybe their defense is good, but maybe it's not as like stressed like the Celtics is, where they focus on it and they have guys at all positions that can guard. So this next series will be.
I'm excited. This is going to be an exciting finals matchup. I've been so torn with who I want, or who I'm happy with either outcome. Let's just get that straightforward. The narrative around either outcome will make me so happy, honestly. But it's I'm pumped. I am so pumped. Should we get into predictions, or are we going to talk about the Warriors first? I don't know.
Yeah, let's. Ooh, No. Let's talk about the Warriors, and then we'll get into our predictions. So, um, obviously, it was a 5-game series for the Warriors in the Western Conference Finals. They kind of handled it pretty well. They took care of business, as I think we all expected. In that last game 5, right? I think the biggest takeaway was for me was that if Klay Thompson can be on that level of where he used to be, I mean the Warriors are scary because then that gives them 3 shot creators, maybe 4 with Wiggins, that really can create their own shot and get
It's
hot
such a
in a
big if,
second.
though. It's
And
such a
that's
big if. We're just seeing how
yeah,
I love Clay, and I want Clay to be Clay, but it's just been he's shown some flashes. Some very he's had some big games, but it's just I want to see the consistency on both ends from Clay, man. I'd love to see it, but it's a huge if, huge if.
it it is. Unfortunately, it is a huge if. And look, we talked about it on the other pod. Just him being Klay Thompson and who he was before the injury, um, makes him a threat on the court. Because even if you can't leave him open. You can't give him open shots. He's Klay Thompson. Um, so that alone draws defensive attention. And so, like I said, he is an asset no matter what. His defense
Mm-hmm.
clearly is not on that same level as it used to be. And I think Boston will try to exploit that because the Mavericks tried to. The Mavericks tried to attack Klay Thompson, get switches onto him, which was weird.
Right.
Which was weird watching because that is the absolute opposite that would happen in previous years. But yeah, the Mavericks were hunting him, and I'm sure Boston will do a little bit of the same. Um, but this Warriors team, we talked about it. They have that legacy. They have the expertise and the experience. Um, how are they going to use that to their advantage to against the Celtics? We'll see. But how do you think? What do you think they'll do to stop Tatum or
To
to
contain
contain Tatum?
Tatum. Let's see. Oh, I mean, yeah, you can like you said. I'm glad you reworded when you said stop and they're like contain, because you can only contain him. I mean, there's so many options on that Boston team too. I mean, you're gonna have to contain both Tatum and Brown a ton. Who are they gonna stick on? I don't know, man. I feel like they're gonna definitely send Draymond over there to help out on Tatum big time. Because Draymond's their best defender. Draymond's that guy.
Yeah, I I think it'll be interesting to see also how this series is officiated. If we look at like this Heat Celtics series that we saw, how it was officiated, at times questionable calls for sure, um, but overall it was a very physical series. It really was. The Celtics were playing physical with the Heat, and the Heat were hitting and bumping every time someone was in the paint. Someone got bumped, and I think I think that's like something the Celtics will try to do is play physical. But I think that's
Yeah,
something like a Draymond Green is really going to excel and try to push onto Jalen or on Jason Tatum. Um, like if Jason Tatum's got him in the post, like Draymond's gonna body him and be strong. I think he's gonna hit everybody with hard screens. Um, it'll be interesting to see kind of who the primary defender is on Jason. I'm assuming
yeah.
it's going to be Wiggins with like Draymond at times going over. Also curious to see if they throw that double like we saw Miami in Game 7, kind of just at the half court line, just kind of send one, especially in the fourth quarter. Um, but then it's up to the other guys to hit shots. I mean, Marcus Smart had 10 threes last night. And if they keep sending the doubles, he's going to
Yeah.
continue to have 10 threes a game. I mean, he's going to continue to be open because they're not going to leave Jalen Brown open, or even Grant Williams because he's a 40 something,
It'll
45%
force
3 point shooter.
Smart to decide to make his shots. I mean, when he's on, it's great, but hopefully, hopefully you can make those open threes for them. And I don't know. I want to bring up. I don't
Yeah.
know how I forgot to mention Wiggins being on Tatum before. Like they play like the same position. I don't know how I forgot to mention that. But yeah, like you said,
Mhm.
having Wiggins as the primary defender and getting some help from Draymond when things are tough. Maybe if he gets by, that would help. And maybe off the bench. I mean, I don't know. They bring out Kuminga or they've been playing some Moody and Kuminga been getting minutes. Or I don't know. Kuminga might have. Moody's been
Yeah,
getting some
and
minutes.
they've been playing well too. I mean, the minutes they're getting, like Kaminga brings that energy. He's just long, lanky, bouncy, and he's seems like
Hmm.
he's not really afraid. It seems like he's just taking the ball to the hoop. He's pulling up when he's open. I mean, but that's definitely something we've seen in the past with Warriors guys, especially young players. Just they feel empowered around that core. Steph, Clay, Draymond, great teammates, pushing everyone to be better. Steve Kerr is a very player friendly coach, player oriented coach. Gives their guys a lot of confidence. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see like a 10 minute of game like from Kaminga, and where he's in a spot where he
Yeah,
really impacts the game. Like we could look back at like one of the games in this series and be like, Kaminga had a stretch where he actually had like two good blocks, like a couple dunks, and played really solid defense.
that's what I
And that was
hope.
like a
I
turning
want
point
to
in the
see
game.
a nice game out of Kuminga. He's such a high energy guy. He's somebody who I really like. I feel like he's got a super high ceiling. Obviously, Golden State's just such a talented team that he doesn't have like the
Yeah.
chance. He's not in like a he was a lotto pick, but he's not in a market or like on a team where he's gonna have like more of the keys. But I like him. I love him in the role
Yeah.
he's in for Golden State.
And I think it's only going to like benefit his future, like having that experience in big winning games, like in big moments, like as a rookie to have that and to play behind and with Draymond, Steph, and Clay to just constantly learn. I mean, a big question mark with him out of the draft was kind of like his mindset and his work ethic, and he couldn't have gone to like a better team. Like, could you imagine, like, if with those question marks, if like, will he completely like polish his game, or is he just going to be an athletic guy, right? Um, with those question marks, if he went
Yeah,
to like a Sacramento instead of a
probably be
Golden
without
State, like,
probably fall
it
out
could
of the
like,
league within seasons. To be
yeah,
completely honest, this is a perfect spot for him.
it is, and it'll be cool. I think Wiggins is going to also have a big series. I think he's in a place where his role is ideal, right? He doesn't have to be the guy, but he's still capable of scoring
Yeah,
20 points a game, right? 20, 25 even. And also playing good defense, but he's not the star, right? Not everyone's going to be focused on him. The defense is going to be focused on him. He's in a great role and he has a lot to kind of prove. So it'd be a big question mark to see if
I'm all,
is he really going to do that? Is he going to
I'm
prove
already
that
so
he's the
happy
guy?
for him. Really, like seeing him be an all star this year. Obviously, probably should not have been an all star starter, but all star
Starter. He's
starter.
a starter.
But I am beyond happy for Andrew Wiggins because he's always been a guy who, like, just ever since like probably 2 years in the league, Wiggins just gotten so much slack because he was such a big name coming out of Kansas, and I remember all the hype around him. Maple Jordan that's his nickname, something like that. Uh, but hey, he's finally an all star, and it was just a change of scenery and change of role for him that really helped. He's always been a solid player, but I think he's really flourished in the role he's played with Golden State. It makes me so happy for him.
Yeah. If we look at, I think in the last couple of years, I think the Celtics are one of the only teams with a winning record against like Steve Kerr's Warriors, and I think they match up
Hmm.
actually really well um, with the length they have. We talked about their defense over and over, but it's so good it's hard not to talk about. And Marcus Smart has had success guarding Steph Curry,
Let's see it.
and so to see 7 games of a Marcus Smart Steph Curry matchup, well, I say 7, but
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, we
always rooting
want to
for
see
game sevens. You
seven.
know me, I don't. We want to see game 7. It's the two best two best words in basketball, Game 7. But to see them go at it, I think it'll be fun. Steph is in Steph's legacy is
It's
already
cemented.
is
He ain't
already
got
like
nothing to
good,
worry
right?
about.
Like, right, he's the best shooter of all time. He's a champion. He's a winner. But could you imagine how much more like he adds to his legacy and like who he is all time as a player if he wins another ring and he's like the main guy again? And
Hopefully he gets that Finals MVP too.
to do it with he gets that Finals MVP, right? And he does it and he plays really well, right? Could you imagine he has a great series against Marcus Smart, the defensive player of the year? And their history earlier in the year, Marcus Smart dove for a loose ball. Some say it was like he was going at Steph's ankle or whatever, but he rolled his ankle and he was out for a couple weeks, right? So there's like little subplots to this matchup. But Steph, if he is able to win this ring and he is able to have a really good series, win Finals MVP, right? I mean, his legacy, like, what does he go down as? Does he go? He goes down as one of the best point guards
I already
of all
have
time.
him.
Yeah, he has to.
He's in my 2 spot next to Magic, but it's hard not. It was hard. I remember the beginning of the season. I'm like, man, Steph's really getting to. Magic's so great though, with that. I mean, what do you 5 rings? I'm like, that might be wrong.
We need to. I need to do some like a deep dive into this because I have a buddy who's like Steph's number 1 all time point guard, and I don't know why
I haven't been able to do it yet.
But I need to
I
like
want
formalize
it.
my
I want
list
Steph,
because
but you're saying like you want to make a list?
I don't know. I don't even know if I want him at number 1.
You
I
met
like
him.
Steph,
You're kind of the reason for his greatness, but you don't know.
Some may say his
I'm a
career
big
completely changed
Jimmy
after
Paganis,
he
ball
shook my
boy,
hand.
Steph Curry theory guy. I think it has really had an impact on Steph. He did win MVP a couple months later. So
yeah, for those who don't know, I was a ball boy for the Houston Rockets when they played the Warriors in 2015, and met Steph, shook his hand, rebounded for him, and he goes on to win unanimous MVP and wins their first championship that year. So I think that's what Liam's pointing at, is that Steph met me and then became great.
Probably
which
true.
I'm all for that theory. Maybe he'll recognize that one day, but that's kind of the background.
Yeah, I just brought that up with no context, but good explanation. But,
okay, so we're at a point we talked a little bit. Do you have anything else on Golden State?
I think we covered it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big question mark, right? For like, what's Clay going to be like? Steph has a lot to live up to, I'd say. I mean, he's got to have a big series if he has an average series, and it's going to be tough, right? So it's going to be fun. It's going to be a great series, great basketball. I think two very well coached teams and 2 teams that play basketball.
Shout out to
kind
Ime
of the right
Udoka.
way.
Shout out to Ime Udoka, man.
That's right.
First year head coach, got so much slack early on, and so many doubters and so many people questioning the decision, and here he is, NBA Finals. I'm beyond impressed, but yeah, I just had to point that out.
No, you're right. I mean, he's done an exceptional job, and you could tell the players really respect him. I mean, when he talks, they listen, and there were some question marks because he called out effort right away. In the first couple months of the season, he called out his players' effort. And there's people like, what are you doing? You can't do that, right? Like now, like players don't respond well to that, right? But the Celtics did, and they got behind him, they bought in, and he's showing each game. It's like Tatum, right? Tatum's like each game he's like cementing like who he is and getting better and better and better. Same with Ime. I mean, every game, it's kind of like, okay, I made these adjustments, or I'll make this adjustment, right? And over again, he's showing like, no, he's a good coach in his first year, leading a group of guys that everybody did not think would come close to making it this far. Um, but yeah, way to throw that in there because it
There's
needed to
so
be
many. I
said.
mean,
So
oh man, I could go on forever because the amount of toxicity too within the Celtics early on. I think the Bulls came back like remember that Bulls win back in I think it was October, early November. They came back down 20 in like the fourth or something, or like entering
yeah,
in the third, something like that. And they held like a there was like Smart went in an interview like criticizing JT or JB, something like that, and they held like a
yeah,
players only meeting and all this stuff. Like it's
players
like
only.
it's so impressive that things have made literally a complete 180, and I'm glad yeah it proves like you can fix things. The if you do things the right way, and like you said, Udoka called out effort. If you call out effort the right way and not like Jim Boylan, who made his team clock in and run suicides after that 50-point blowout loss, if you coach the right way and criticize effort the right way, you can turn your season around and make things better.
Yeah, and it's like it's a respect thing. I mean, I'm sure Ime did it
Yeah,
with respect and knowing that he's doing it because he knew what they were capable of. They were capable of this. They have the team, they have the talent to be in the finals, and they did it. Whereas, like some coaches that get criticized for being harder on their guys are like a Jim Boylan when they don't have anybody, right? They have
young team.
a young Zach Levine and Cameron Payne coming off the bench or whatever he was doing, right? Um, like Shaq Harrison was like our second best player for a little bit. But anyway, no, that was a great point. He's coaching really well, and I think this finals the coaching matchup is once again just another great coaching matchup. Steve Kerr and him, they'll be able to you'll get to see the adjustments that are being made from game to game. And I'm excited to see even just game one what both of these teams come out in defensively and how they attack offensively. It'll be something to pay attention to for
Tons to be
sure.
excited for. I know we were trying to get to it before. You were trying to transition. I cut you off. I'm like, email you, Doka. Need to talk about him, but
No, no
we going
worries.
into predictions.
Yeah, I want to hear you first. I want to hear what you think is going to happen in this finals, and I want to know maybe a little why, but also obviously who do you think is going to win, and give me like a finals MVP, I
Give
guess.
me like 5 seconds of silence to think about this, because we had we talked about Celtics and we talked about the Warriors, and my emotions were just, this is good. Yeah, I don't know. But let me think about it.
This
Yeah,
can
this
be an
is hard.
emotional pick. This doesn't have to be a
Let
completely
me let
factual
me
choice.
clear this out first. I'm so excited for this finals because I am going to be ecstatic for whoever wins regardless. I think the narratives around both teams display the beauty of the NBA and basketball so perfectly in completely different directions with Steph's dominance over the years and the the comeback and the resilience and the effort and the 180 from the Celtics. So just to clear that out the water, I'm so
That's a cop out answer. Who's going to win?
Celtics.
Whoa.
Celtics. Celtics are
Celtics.
gonna win.
I did not expect you to
Yeah.
say Celtics. I really did
You
not.
know what? I don't know. I
Wow.
said that. I don't know. I don't know. I said it. I said it. I should go with it. Celtics. I said the Celtics. I have to ride with it now.
Why do you think the Celtics will win?
Uh, I just think they're resilient. I mean, they've already done something that's hard. Well, not harder. I mean, winning a championship's really like the hardest thing you can do. But like, I think what they've done is incredibly rare and incredibly difficult. And to be in that position of not rock bottom, but like from what their standards and expectations are, pretty down. And probably in a bad state as a team. To work your way up and get to that point is special and takes so much resilience. And they play together, they complement each other well. So does Golden State, but I'm just saying like it's essential for a championship team for everybody to just be together and play together. You know, they've battled through that toxicity that they felt at one point, and to come back from that is so special. And what we've seen out of Tatum as a blooming superstar is so special as well. I think he's proven to really perform on huge stages these playoffs, and I think we'll only see more of that. So I have the Boston Celtics winning in 7 games.
7.
7 games.
Game 7. Oh, Liam. I did not expect you to say Boston because it ruins my pick. Because I was going to
still
pick Boston.
Just research. I saw your comment
know,
today too, and I'm like, I'm gonna ride with what I said anyway, what I think anyway.
So here's the thing.
We should just do it like first take and just assign different sides before, so we can just, even if it's not what we really think.
We should have planned this out. We should have scripted this better. Yeah. No. So here's what I'll say. I say Boston because I do think they match up well. However, wouldn't be surprised if they even lost in like 6 games, 5 games. I wouldn't be surprised.
Can I say one thing? I was seeing like flashes of Steph Curry over the championship and a Finals MVP while I was going through my answer test. So I was like, ooh. But go on. Sorry.
No, I think they match up well. You're right. The more you think about it, the more the storyline of the Warriors kind of fits. But look, I've really been impressed with the Celtics and how they play. Tatum is his like ascension to like top 10, top 5 in the league has been absurd, and he keeps backing it up every game. And Jalen is performing really well, that like insanely well, does everything he needs to do to be that number 2 guy, right? They defend hard. They wouldn't be scrambled if they have to switch right on a screen and say like instead of Marcus Smart on Steph, they get into a screen, they have to switch. Jaylen Brown's down stuff. Jason Tatum's down stuff. Grant Williams can even move his feet. Al Horford, old, maybe not the best matchup, obviously, against Steph, but there's worse centers, right? Even Rob Williams can, if he's healthy, can be a more of a factor there as well. I think they match up well. They have like the lengthy wings who are athletic and strong and good defenders, and it's just it's tough because the Warriors are so good, and I don't want to downplay their greatness, and I don't want people to be like, we both picked Boston. We're like not for Golden State. We're anti-Golden State, and we like just don't want them to win, because that's not true. I do think Golden State probably, they're the favorites right now. I think in Vegas odds, they're the favorites, and I think they should be. I really do. I think it would be like an upset for Boston to win, especially if everyone stays healthy. But I'm going Boston just because of the matchup situation and how many different defenders they could throw at Steph. And it's not like in the rounds past where like, okay, the best defender was guarding Steph. Jordan Poole has like a slightly worse defender. Klay Thompson has a slightly worse defender. Wiggins has a slightly worse defender. No, they'll be able to throw like a bigger, lengthier guy on on Steph, on Poole, on Clay, on Wiggins, all at the same time. Like Marcus Smart's bigger than Steph, right? Brown is bigger than Poole. Tatum's bigger than, or a little bit bigger, longer than Wiggins. Draymond Green is not really maybe an offensive factor as a scorer. He obviously as a facilitator, and I think the Celtics have like good, smart players who they can put on a Draymond to maybe sag and kind of read the offense a little better and talk from kind of behind the play. I just think the matchups are there for Boston. I think they could work out better, and yeah, we both picked Boston, which I didn't expect to happen, but that's my pick. Boston's my official pick, and wouldn't be surprised if the Warriors win in 5. So there's that.
Yeah, man. No, it could totally happen. Anything can happen. NBA, man. Anything can happen. Anything is possible.
That's right. So that's our picks, right? We have Boston, and we did our little recap of Game 7, the exciting Game 7. But that's going to be it for today's pod. We appreciate you guys listening. We appreciate you guys tuning in. We ask that you continue to follow us on social media, on Instagram, on TikTok, on Twitter, on everything we have set up. Continue listening to us on Spotify, watching us on YouTube, and Apple Podcasts. We appreciate you guys. We appreciate all the feedback you have for us. We're going to continue to get better, and we're looking forward to more podcasts, and we're looking forward to the finals for sure. So thanks again, guys. Y'all have a good one.